Live. You ever heard that word, Ross Collins? Yeah, you heard that before. Oh, that must be the app telling you I'm live. 9:15, I met everybody. You know how it goes sometimes. You press that 1 instead of a 0. You got these fat ass thumbs, you know. It's just how it is. You know, Ross? Oh yeah, you know me. You call me Joey Blaze for nothing. I must be on my BS already. It must be that time of the year again. Nationals. Last month of the year. Gotta get a lot of things fixed in the off season. Gotta make a lot of adjustments. Gotta make a lot of upgrades. Gotta make a lot of changes. But we gotta grind through these playoffs. We gotta keep this beard growing. This jaw might be popping and my knees may be failing and I might be old and busy as hell. But brother, this is the time of the year where we gotta shine. Dallas first, immediately jumping into the room. All right, get them on here. We're off to a good start. Right out the gate. Let's get them on. Yes, sir. Old school Baez jersey. That's the St. Louis one. The team that beat Baez Auto last year at Nationals. If you recall that, Dallas.
What was that?
Last year's Nationals, Baez Auto, St. Louis Spartans.
Oh man.
I'll tell you.
That was a good one.
You guys have a knack of playing either the first or second best team in the tournament Sunday and your weekend. It's weird. You guys have that weird luck with that. You go back to 19. AFN, eventual champions, back to back. Right out the saying. You lost to 3 straight champions in a row in a tournament. But you guys get the toughest draws every time, and you still play them tougher than the teams they end up playing in the semis and championship. That's the one thing I love about Baez Auto. They compete with anybody, and in 2021, they showed they can. These guys were all over the place. Who could forget? And not even just 9-man. I'm talking about the 8-man team up in that league you guys were in.
Just wins.
Just win 8. Talk about it. Going back to March, when Baez won, just went 8s. In fact, let's go over the season for Baez Auto Dallas while we're here. Glad we got you in tonight. We kicked it off with you guys. I'm trying to recall, were you at Hanover? I think you may not have been.
Yep.
Okay, just want to make sure. I've been in too many tournaments this year. After a while, everything starts to blur when you go to York about 10,000 times in a year.
Right?
So go back to that one. You guys got the championship over Wolverines. That was the way to start out the season. Ironically enough, Dallas, a Wolverines franchise that you won the Keystone Flag Football League with later on in the year when you guys went up to Shippensburg and took over the trap of the Misfits going into the building where they were 23-0 entering that day. Chris Boone was 17-0 that day coming in. And Dallas, you, Brandon Reel, part of that Wolverine squad, along with TJ Holston and Dan Zangari, head coach Jamie Lagana, to name a few offhand, Austin Folkenroth, who stepped up in a huge way. I give a lot of props to that guy. I hope we see him at Nationals. I hope he's at Nationals.
Yeah, he's coming. He's coming with us.
He's with Baez. I like it.
Yes, he is.
Folkenroth is going to be a wild card coming into this weekend. I wouldn't have said that about 4 months ago. Because I know me and him, issues, TBT, Impact, York, made a bad impression. It happens. We're sorry. But you know what? In the Keystone Flag Football League this year, he came out there and got his most 9-man work on a Wolverine squad that was gutsy. And came out there and fought their way through a tough Keystone Flag Football League slate in that playoff run, beating out the X-Dogs, who has been the team of Pennsylvania in 9-man. Remember, they had 3 circuit championships. I believe they may be one of the very few the only active PA team of a circuit championship is the X-Dogs. Wolverines got them at the end. Folkenroth with that pick 6. Dallas, your journey has been a wild one, man. York You talk about Ocean City, Charm City. You talk about Capital Classic, Shippensburg. What about this year, Dallas, has stood out to you the most? What has been the one thing that you've noticed about this Baez Auto team, whether it be playing in that York Eights, whether it be playing in that 9-man flag football, or even Baez's big man team that we saw back at Just Win Bigs?
We've been in so many championships, man. I can't even keep track of them, to be honest with you.
Let's count them out.
That's not bad.
We're going to have on this side of the wins, this is the losses.
Hanover.
In Hanover. That's one. Lost to Rampage in Ocean City. You guys lost in the York playoffs, but I don't think it was a championship game.
No, we had to just win Eights York.
Just
we won that one.
That was 2 tournaments. Yeah, we're talking tournaments, not league ball. Yeah, my head gets into both at times. I forget.
And then championship.
The future of the Retro Invaders, a team that I believe will be playing themselves down at one of the nationals this year, or one of the other stops.
Capital City, we got to the chip, lost that one. And then
very close
one to Shippensburg one.
You had that one up there, that little conglomerate there, Baez Auto, Elite Rebels, and Wolverines coming together. And
yeah, I'm 3
championship. 10 strong by the
3 of 5.
What's that?
3 of 5.
3 to 5. 3 to 5. That's Dallas' first year in flag football, and that's just going from March to November. That's in an 8-month span. Right. This man has been up there with Baez Auto, or even the Wolverines. You talk about what Baez has done up in York Gates. They've been a dynasty up in YAFFL for a long time, and they went and swept both tournaments the YAFFL held this year. Over a 9-man, they were close against Rampage. In fact, that Ocean City performance itself, what a crazy time it was.
Both of our 9-man B championships came down to literally one play.
Yeah.
They both came down to one play. We were at Ocean City. We were 17 yards away from getting in the end zone to win that one. And it was 4th down, and we didn't convert on 4th down. And then what was that? Capital City Classic. We were in the red zone, just couldn't punch it in 4 downs, and wound up losing that one. So we were that close every single time. But I'll tell you what, man. The biggest takeaway I have from this season, and what is going to help us go into nationals, is how much adversity we've battled. I mean, we've battled a lot of adversity to claw and fight our ways to these championships, going against sometimes the toughest bracket to get there, playing the most games at times to get there. Adversity and just our brotherhood that we have on that sideline. I mean, it's not a moment that we look at each other and say we're going to lose this game. We're able to battle that adversity, come together as a team, as a brother, pick each other up when our heads start hanging, and we go out there and we lay it all out on the field. And there's nothing I wouldn't take away from what we're able to accomplish on that field. So yeah, I would say that's my biggest takeaway. We've learned how to deal with the adversity, and there's 4 quarters in football. Just because you're down in the first 2 doesn't mean the game's over. So,
yeah, big facts. And that was the thing, Dallas. You yourself saw it firsthand, even in KFFL with Wolverines. You had to go back to back against the X-Dogs and the Misfits, 2 of the teams in the area, 2 of the active teams currently for fall season that had been dominating the region. Misfits, they had been KFFL champions in 19, county champions in 20. We saw them in the circuit all year. X-Dogs, like we said, the team in PA. Your Wolverine squad, you guys came in very light on numbers in that playoffs, had to go through a 3-game obstacle. Flashbacks to that day, Dallas. What lesson did you take out of that one as well from that experience going into this nationals? Because this is going to be survival of the fittest. And you've been there before with small teams and big game situations. You guys pulled it out, like we mentioned, in that KFFL championship. You and Brandon Neal, both Baez players who will be there. Brandon March as well on that squad.
And you got Baez was on that squad. You had Austin that was on that squad.
Sure.
I mean, there was a good solid amount of Baez players on there. My biggest takeaway from KFFL is heart. You can measure skill, you can measure talent or whatever you want to say, but you can't measure someone's heart. I mean, just because we look over on the other sideline, there's 35 people standing there, and we're only there with 14 with 3 of the people injured, doesn't mean just give up and just take the loss. But that's just not how my heart is, and that's not how anybody else's heart was in that 11 players standing on them sideline. The heart is what makes the difference. So.
And I expect a lot of heart out of this Baez Auto team coming into this Nationals. You guys, I believe, will have Playmakers Elite, Show Me Football, and Only Us. I'll tell you, what a slate. That is quite the slate there. You start with Playmakers Elite. We looking back at what they have done this fall in their comeback season in Maffle. After missing all of 2020, they came in with a vengeance. We saw the potential in the summer when they went and competed with Rampage in that quarterfinal matchup of what they could be later on. Then they tore through Maffle, went undefeated the rest of the year in the league play. And Capital Classic, we talked about it, came out the champions there, beating the Rampage twice. They beat the Misfits, and they beat the Elite Rebels along the way. They showed they were the dominant A team in the DMV area, and yet they're going to be in B bracket this time around. And, we talked about it. This is a bit of a slow burn return for PME to a large-scale tournament like this. Remember, the last time they played in the national level tournament was 2020, when they ended up not making day 3 in nationals, or worlds rather. So for them coming into this B tournament, this is going to be a juggernaut of a team on terms of what they face. We've seen what they can do down there at Tucker, but if they can get the travel going, which I believe they can, PME has grown a lot throughout this year. That team is radically different than the one that they took the Worlds 2 years ago. And I think this B tournament, some guys might be hating. I get it. Definitely get it. But this is an opportunity to them to get a championship and get that momentum. But it's high risk, high reward. You got to win this tournament if you're PME. Your impressions on Playmakers Elite Dials? Did you get an opportunity to watch them when you were down there on Tucker Road?
Man. I didn't really get the opportunity to watch them. We were more focused on main event, to be honest with you. We had our tough matchup against main event.
I was talking about Capital Classic. Main event was
sorry, my fault. Yeah.
No, you're good. No. You're good.
No, and I didn't get a chance to watch them at all, to be honest with you. To be quite frank with you, there's not a lot of times that I get to watch a lot of teams at all.
Right.
You know what I mean? Typically when we're playing, usually the team that we want to watch is playing on the other field. So we don't really get a chance to watch them or anything else like that. And, but I did watch a little bit of film on them. I did get a chance to see some of the lives and stuff like that. And yeah, they're a very talented team. Obviously an A caliber team. And I'm actually looking forward to the matchup. I think it's going to be a dogfight between the both of us. But we're biased, man. We ain't backing down from anybody. It's just not who we are. So we're looking forward to the matchup. We're looking forward to playing them. And it's going to be good ball on Friday. So.
Oh yeah, man. I'm looking forward to that matchup. That is going to be one of the best matchups you're going to see on Friday overall. I'm looking forward to that game. The other opponent, Only Us. Of course, you're familiar with the affiliate nation at this point. Very well familiar with them. Since the last time we saw AFN, over the summer, they had come together with Team Petty. We saw a performance in AC where they had a really good day 1, but got upset very quickly on day 2 by the Long Island Demons. But then Charm City, we saw the potential what that team could be. Ran through 717 Elite, DX, Maryland Venom, Show Me Football, but fell to the Blackhawks. Some might say, though, coming into this tournament, where do they stand? Last time we saw them was back in the semifinals of Maffle. PME blew them out by about 3 or 4 scores. But they've been sitting, I think, and waiting and watching. And I feel like they're going to come very heavy into nationals. There's going to be a lot of veterans on that squad. Over the years, Dallas, you and AFN have crossed paths 3 different times in circuit play. We go back to the Ocean City Championship in 19, the semifinal Virginia Beach in 19, and Clash of York in 2 day 1, where you guys finally got the win over AFN in your hometown, 21-19. Always a classic game when these two franchises mix it up. Memories over the years of facing the affiliate nation.
I mean, honestly, that was probably our first 9-man official tournament out in that Ocean City back in 2019 when we had to go against Scorpions, Renegades, and then AFN. Gave us our true test of what 9-man football was about, showed us that we could compete. And I think AFN kind of gave us a different taste of how talented the B division was at that time. Honestly, it kind of became a rival game because not only did we play them in Ocean City, but what was that? 2 months later, we wound up playing them again in Virginia Beach. It was just like that hardcore rival game, man. I loved every moment of those battles. Especially when we went down to Virginia Beach, it literally came down to one play. That quarterback scramble up the middle, the play I'll never forget, that scored the touchdown for them to win. Still
7-3. That was a dogfight.
Yeah, that still makes me a little sick to this day.
But no, I mean, very defensive. Very defensive battles.
They're a good team, man. I'm looking forward to seeing what they have to bring. I know they formed up with Team Petty. I did get a chance. I was down there at AC. I did get to see them actually play. I think they played against because Baez didn't enter that, so I joined with 717 Elite just to keep the reps going. And one of our players joined up with another team, and he was playing against them, so I went over there and watched them. And I mean, they got some athletes. Definitely looking forward to the matchup. It's never a dull moment when AFM players are involved. They got plenty of experience, so we're looking forward to it.
Talked about learning from AFN. What did you learn from the Renegades in that Ocean City tournament and later on in the Capital Classic 2019, or even the Bad Boys back in April?
I don't know what it is, man. We can't fire on all cylinders when we play them for some reason. You know what I mean? It's just like you can always count on us. I don't know what it is. We'll go into pool play and somehow, some way, we just find a way to drop one. I never understood it. We just find a way to drop one, and then we come out Sunday and we're clicking on all cylinders. And it's a whole different Baez team. I mean, we're firing, we're moving, we're basically in the groove at that point. I mean, I don't know what it is. You know, I can't really answer that for you, but you know, Bad Boys Renegades, it was always love over there, man. They got some ballers out there. But I think
Thomas.
Huh?
What do you think of Eddie Thomas?
Oh well, Eddie Thomas is my man. I love that guy. He's a baller, man. Got nothing but love for Eddie. Still gonna talk my shit to him, but I love the guy. He's he's one of those players, man. He talks his shit, but he backs it up. He always does. I'll give him that much. He's a hell of a receiver. We definitely saw that when we played him down in Ocean City. I mean, he had 2 touchdowns on us. So he definitely plays hard ball. But to be honest with you, when we were playing Capital City Classic this year, I thought we were going to go in there and play the Bad Boys, to be honest with you, and they wound up falling down to the Titans. So I was a bit thrown off by that. I didn't expect that.
Yeah, I think we both did. We talked about that Saturday.
Yeah. So, yeah, I didn't expect that. I didn't see that coming. But it happens. What are you going to do about it? Move on, right?
Yeah. What's that?
See him down Florida.
Right? I mean, I look at the tournaments. The tournaments are just they're warm-ups, man. They're warm-ups to the big picture at the end of the year. You know what I mean? These are just warm-ups. Right. You're getting reps in. You know what I mean? You're getting your work in.
It's a regular season.
Yeah, it's literally a full out 9-man season is what it is. You're going up against the comp, you're getting yourself right, you're working on your adjustments, you're trying to figure stuff out, and then you go into nationals, then you implement everything that you learned, everything that you had to pick up on, and you take that to nationals and you strive for greatness. That's what it is.
Yes. To me, it's not how you start. It's not where you are come summer. It's how you finish. You go back the last time we had a full circuit year in 19, the Strong Island Bulldogs and the affiliate nation were the two most dominant teams coming into Worlds. And in the end, Strong Island and AFN didn't even make it to the Final Four of Worlds that year. They were both out. It was Second Gen and the Scorpions who came away instead. Coming into this one. Sorry.
It was almost a full circuit this year.
Yeah.
It was close.
I actually think 6 is normally the number, so I think we had,
5. We missed Beach.
That's right. Yeah, Virginia Beach was out, which is a shame, but I think it was going to happen because Virginia Beach, it's one that I like, but it's a hard trip for a lot of guys at times. I think that one was kind of hard to swing for a lot of guys over the years.
That's one of my favorites. So Virginia Beach is one of my favorites.
It's a good park to go to. That was my first tournament in 2015 that I played in. It was BC and Rideout I played against that weekend. I was on the D line playing.
Yeah, that's because you were pushing people around getting sacks, right?
Dude, bro, let me recount that story. I tell you. I remember like it was yesterday. Andy invited us to Buffalo Wild Wings to come play for the Knights at Virginia Beach. And I said, all right, we got this. Who are we facing? And he's like, he looks at us dead in the eye and says, Mike D. Mind you, at the time, this is my second season, and all I've done is local flag football in Hagerstown, Maryland.
Who that?
We all looking at each other like, yeah, Mike D, that guy. And just all thinking, who? And I remember I played 40 snaps that weekend. That was the most I played in any 9-man season or anything. 40 snaps on the D line. It was me and about 3 other guys from my local team that I had, the Survivors, playing on the D line. I tell you, man, I picked off Mike D. I sacked Mike D. I had a touchdown. Dude, I had footage. Then it got destroyed. It did, bro. It got destroyed. I'm telling you.
My man Ross is calling you out right now.
Ross is just mad because I had a circuit win and he doesn't. Actually, I think you have more circuit wins than I do. I got one. We beat X-Dogs of TMT that one time. That was way back, though. That's 5 years ago. Ross, you beat Rampage and Scorpions, right? Yeah. Actually, no, wait. I beat Rampage and Bullets with TBT. I forgot I had TBT. I forgot my own 9-man team. Terrible. Clash of York was a circuit tournament.
Why not get to count that too, though?
You weren't there for day one. It don't matter, though. Rampage won that shit. The Renegades would beat us anyways.
Did you play day
It don't matter how many circuit wins you got, man. At the end of the day, all that matters is championships.
Facts. And I have 0 of those in circuit play.
You're not the only one.
It's hard, man. It's all about – not everybody gets one. You know, Maryland Titans grinded to get that one. They've been 5 years in between. They had won Hagerstown back in 16, and what you compare the bracket of Hagerstown 16 to Capital Classic 21 blows it away. It was a much better competition in 21. They went on a long journey. They went through 5 years of purgatory and not being able to get back to that stage. They got back, they overcame. I think Baez is due for one. Titans were due for one as well. They have been in it for a long time. They go back to the late 2000s. And Capital was only their second championship in circuit play.
Yeah, they jumped up on us quick.
Yeah.
You
gotta watch Doc, man. When he's in a groove, it's hard to stop him. He came
out firing. Yeah, that was something crazy. Like I said, we played. I think we played the Titans before. That Titan team, yeah.
Yeah,
think
you
we played
guys
them out
faced them
national.
in Charm City 19. You had that return, I believe.
Yeah,
You
and then
had,
we
yeah, you had
had
to catch down the sideline. I remember that's one of the first shots I had of
yeah.
you in the game was that
Yeah,
catch
I had
down the
that touchdown
sideline.
there, and then we played them in nationals. We beat them out there. But they had the one dude playing quarterback, the one with the dreads, right?
Yeah, Locke was the quarterback then.
Yeah,
He was
Locke.
also the quarterback when they won Hagerstown back at 16.
Yeah,
And I give him a lot of credit, man. He stepped down from the quarterback role. He let Doc, the veteran, come in. We talk about it. Doc goes back to 1985 in the sport of flag football. He's been playing since a lot of these kids' parents were in school.
My man Eddie wasn't even born yet either.
Nah, I'm an 87, man.
Yeah, I'm an 88, man.
There is footage of little Eddie out there, though, at one of the old nationals way back in the day.
What was he, 12? Catching touchdowns on 20-year-olds?
Nah, my dad was playing, man.
Oh, I hear you.
We're gonna go back. We're gonna go.
Oh man, you got footage.
I got footage.
Oh, I'm about to screen share this. I'm putting this on my Facebook.
Eddie pops up in one of the shots, which I think you posted the screenshot, Eddie, a while back when you found the footage.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you knew this or not. The quarterback that your dad's team faced in that game.
It's Doc.
No, you faced Doc. He is the same one that Black Ops faced on Jungle Boys that just went 8 days before I posted that.
OG.
John McGraw.
Yeah.
I
talk to John every time I see him. I love John.
John's a baller,
so eerie
bro.
to find that, man. John is a baller. Like,
bro, I have numerous conversations during the Hanover League talking to him. He's a trip.
Yeah, dude.
Wait, John. Hey, Eddie. John helps you guys out when he's not playing, doesn't he?
Yeah.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
All of our practice.
We're going back to a different world of the game. 1994.
They wore legit uniforms back then.
That's authentic Green Bay Packers and Cowboy jerseys from what.
Yeah, those were real live jerseys. Yeah.
Wildwood Athletic Club in the green, CNS Cowboys in the blue.
That's up behind my house. I still live in that area.
No shit.
That's
really
crazy.
Yeah, this was from what Barry Cohen had told me. The guy who gave me the tape. He's playing guard here, number 71. His son Jared out there on the circuit right now playing 9-man A. We've seen him on Misfits and Bullets at AFN over the last few years. McGraw's mullet, though. I love it. Old school. And that's Barry right there on the reception for being pulled down in the end zone.
Hey, man, you got to pay respect to the people that made the game what it is, though.
I do. Big respect.
You know what I mean? It was a completely different game back then, though, but you got to give respect.
This is awesome to watch because, like, it's a whole other philosophy than what we see today.
Look, like they have 6 down linemen.
And he was under center, and it was completely different.
like a real football game. Like you had people like running dives up the middle.
This was back at a time where I think linemen were almost more widely available for the most part. And a lot of teams who didn't have the size would compensate by coming out in tight end sets.
My man got a coach on the sideline coaching them up.
Yeah.
Got a rolled up playbook.
Official uniforms and everything. Like the official apparel. Like yeah.
Real wow.
This is like a blast from the past. Like, but like
I could watch this all day.
It's interesting to look back on because you see how look at this formation. Like I believe Gang Green runs something very similar.
Right here, that's him right here on your sideline that just slipped on that comeback route. That's him right there.
That's your dad.
Yeah.
Hey, screenshot that real quick and send it to him.
I've already gotten on him about it once I first saw the video.
So how you slipping out of routes like that? The quarterback relying on you.
Oh, he got away. That was a good play. That was a good play. He's still going. Eddie, you're on the sideline somewhere here in that background, somewhere, I believe. I can't see exactly where though. It's so wide of a shot. This formation though, look how far back. That's like 15.
Yeah, Gangrene definitely runs the formation just like that.
That's
where
what
they have. Well, it's an 8-man format though. They typically have 3 with 1 in the backfield, and then usually it's 3 receivers and the quarterback. This is more spread out because obviously you have that extra person. Gives the quarterback a little bit more time.
Eddie, any recollection of some of the names here on Wildwood?
It depends on what year. I only knew a couple of the names. The quarterback that they have here, I didn't know who that was.
Okay.
The receiver, I believe
the
play. I believe his name was Gary. If that's who that was.
Holding.
One of the linebackers still comes over my house all the time.
Nice.
But for the most part, I don't know if my dad still keeps in contact with a lot of those guys. I think Dick died, the head coach. I think a couple years ago, I believe. Maybe early 2000s.
Oh, that should have been pick.
Has your dad seen this film yet?
Yeah, I showed it to him.
What did he think?
He loved seeing it. He asked if there was any more, but I couldn't find any more of it. Of any more of those type games.
Yeah, this was part of a playoff run that CNS had that year, and but Barry said was a Nationals. I believe this was part of states though at the time, but I'm not 100% certain. Back in the old format, way back in the day of 9-man.
It's got to be crazy seeing video of yourself that you probably didn't know existed.
Yeah,
right.
It's got to be surreal too to look back and see yourself playing in a real actual game in a time period where that wasn't even thought of most days.
Bro, they had out the old school camcorders.
Oh,
one
yeah.
Where you pop like that little mini VHS in the side.
That's the unique thing about this. I was a pick. That's the unique thing about this, like the most was like I recall having a similar childhood to this. Like I always talk about it myself when like my dad had his team in Washington County. The one year we actually got the states in '97, they went out there and played against the Metro Chiefs. wasn't pretty. We took an L pretty hard that day. And like being able to relive this and like watching it, I think back on my own childhood, and it's like it's amazing to see how much this game has changed and how much we can say it's grown in a lot of ways. It's crazy to see how different the uniforms are back then. I think the styles we have nowadays are more suitable for the game we play. You think about it, the lighter gear, the lighter wear.
I was about to say that's more bulky, more not as free moving. The jerseys are a little loose at the bottom, so easier to pull a jersey out. But I'm just blown away by the formations that they're running. It's crazy. It had to be nothing but defensive games back in the day.
I could see that, especially with the running clock and everything else, because from what I've gathered, like there was an old rule in 9-man where the clock did run under 2 minutes.
Yeah.
So you kind of had a much different, more power-based game.
Yeah, it was definitely, first play they came out, they had 7 people on the line with a running back, and they ran a dive right up the middle. Shit's crazy.
Oh, that was a nice pitch.
What you say, bud?
You want your candy?
What?
Oh, from the car, yeah.
I'll pull up another one from just 3 years later. This one's going to be a league game. One of my favorites, mostly because like it's really good quality. This is from Washington County. America recognizes this field, Dallas?
I do.
Marty Snook Park, 1997. League game, but another look at how 9-man's changed over the years. Kind of a sidetrack to a little history. But, comparing like later on, this is just 3 years later. Similar kind of matchup here. I always
just tell the offense is more spread out.
Yeah. My dad's team's the one in the red. He plays center in this one. I'm somewhere on the sideline, but I'm not in the film at all, unfortunately.
Bill Hammers.
Yes, sir. 1997. 25 years this fall since I discovered this game. Crazy.
I bet you this turned into a night game.
This is like a very dreary, perfect November day. Like, this was what I always thought of when playoff time hit, is a day like this with how dark it is and everything else you see around it. The sky is, I would say, very gray that day. It's cold weather. The leaves are down. And this was during a time period where league ball did factor in to the old governing bodies of the sport way back in the day. Back when it was much different groups. There are some people who were there now that were there then, but like back when it factored in. You had the states format where the league champions would host a playoff game at their league facility against, say, like the example I had was that my dad's team went to Baltimore and played the Metro Chiefs, and the team who won Washington County inevitably that season hosted a playoff game in Hagerstown against a team traveling there. That'd be like today if we had a similar setup, Wolverines and maybe Misfits in there with Rampage, all the other MAFL, KFL teams, something like that, where you would have teams traveling to Baltimore from Shippensburg to play against Scorpions, or even someone traveling down from Rampage to MAFL to play PME in a road game. Something like that would be what we see nowadays.
I think it's just the commitment level of it at that point. You know what I mean? A lot of teams.
Wing C, by the way. Old school wings, yeah. Reverse.
Oh, man.
Yeah, they practiced. That was the one thing they did. But they practiced twice a week for this stuff back then. Dad's team did. And the attack they had here, it was very unorthodox.
Warriors ran wing C. We used to practice twice a week.
Yeah.
Well, I can say right now, you don't see many reverses.
Yeah. And that's because a lot of it, I feel like the speed of the game has changed so much where it's a lot harder to get that off. Yeah. Unless, you have an athletic advantage, which, look at that's a power eye straight up.
Yeah.
You got to surprise somebody with that, and you can only run one time.
Yeah, it's like
every 6 months.
Honestly, we'd be to run that, you have to set it up all game long. You have to put somebody in an orbit motion. So eventually they're like, oh, okay, well, he's had a couple of speed sweeps, but that's about it. And then toward the end of the game, hit him with that, orbit motion, speed sweep reverse or something like that, just to keep him off guard. But still a hard play because the defensive ends are so quick nowadays that if they don't crash down, then you're stuck in the backfield. That's pretty much what's going to happen. So it's tough. I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know if I'd run reverses, to be honest with you. That's not in today's game anyway.
I think it would be something where you would have to have it. That's a good kick. Well, a kickoff too in a league game. You don't see that in very many league games. That's a good kick. I don't even kick that. But that's the thing. It would almost have to be something where either A, you play against an undisciplined defense that doesn't have a high IQ on terms of linebacker and DBs who are able to read that kind of stuff, which you don't really know that until the game goes on. So you can trick a lot of teams still. I've seen it firsthand on the circuit.
We did it. We did it in Ocean City. We ran it one time, and it turned into a decent play. But the end, I think it was speed sweep reverse from Brandon to me. I came around to the other side. I had to make the defensive end miss, but I mean, if he was more of an athletic defensive end, it would have, probably been a lot worse. But I wound up making him miss, and I got 15, 20 yards out of it. But we were also up 3 scores when we tried it. So just kind of blowing the clock out, messing around with different things. But
oh yeah, that's something you sometimes have to do. I do feel like though, what's that? Yeah, I do believe though, personally, there are places for that for games you can use it in. There's situations that can work. I even think old school football like this could still work theoretically if you execute it in a way that the defense is missing it, because a lot of flag football, it makes flags happen, is not being able to pull flags.
Yeah.
FOE does it.
FOE does it. Yeah, they do. FOE though, if you look at how they have their lineup though, they're kind of built for it though. And it's not long drawn out plays though. You ever notice like it's quick? They're not, they're making a decision right there. And sometimes if you ever watch it, they'll run that speed sweep reverse and they'll fake that reverse and cut it right up the gap. Just cut right off of that guy's ass and just hit the cap. So, I mean, that just comes with, experience. They've been doing it for a while.
Oh, yeah, they run that direction.
Yeah. And it's like they have the IQ around it. The only problem with that is their offense can fire on all cylinders, but their defense kind of doesn't pick up much of the slack for them, though. So, I don't know. They're a good team, though.
You're in their bracket.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
I don't think so.
No, Baez has PME.
We have PME.
I'm bugging.
But that's something about only us. You got to watch out for that kind of stuff from them as well. They're gonna. It's not just AFN. They're gonna have James Battle and Team Petty out there as well. And we've seen like firsthand what Battle can do over the years. The man has a national championship that he won with Kent Page way back in the day.
R.I.P. to Kent Page, man.
R.I.P. to Kent, man. Hey, back wall, we got the jersey. We got his referee shirt out here from now till Nationals. All love to Kent. Thanks for all he did. We're going to be paying tribute all Nationals long to Kent and what he did for the game.
Definitely. Honestly, I think this national tournament, from the B bracket perspective of things, and I don't know, Eddie can chime in on this, I think it's well matched in all of them, to be honest with you. I think it's very evenly matched when you take a look at the brackets.
And that's something I'm going to do right now, actually. I do have that on me somewhere. I was going to save it for later on, me and Ross doing some combo, but let's pull this all up right now. We've had a lot of fun looking back on the old era of 9-man when it came to Nationals, back whether it be in the 90s, Eddie's experience with it growing up with Wildwood, mine with the Hammers.
The old Hammers.
Yeah, it was the only time we got there, unfortunately. It was tough sledding that point on. You know what I mean. Here's what we got for this. This is a lineup and a half. Sheesh.
Oh, that's big thing.
Of course, we're talking about Baez. They're going to be taking on Show Me at 11:45 a.m. on Field Z. I'm not sure which one that is yet, to be determined. They also got PME right afterwards. That's going to be a tough doubleheader. Show Me Football. How much do you know about them, Dallas?
Well, I didn't. That doesn't count.
I just know a little bit from the film that I saw. I don't really know too much about them. I don't think they played in a lot of tournaments, to be honest.
Actually, this will be their fourth in a year span. They played last year at Nationals. Did not make day 3. They haven't gotten there yet, but they did play right out very tough last year at Nationals, only losing 6-0 in that game.
Gotcha.
Also, Charm City, they came out, had a very good performance against the affiliate nation and only us at the time. Played them very tough. Only lost that game 20-14. That was a tight game. Ross Collins had that one. They were light that weekend as well. They came with a few NTB players and a couple of their guys. But they've been a bit of a different team every tournament. We go back to Rhode Island. They had my man T. Spence up there, Tyler and Trey. Both my guys over here of TBT, they were up there playing for Show Me Football at Rhode Island.
I guess it all just depends on who they have coming out to Nationals, honestly. To me, it just sounds like they've been pulling from other teams, and now those players are going to be divided back up to their home team. So, it all depends on what team's going to show up. Who are they bringing? You know what I mean? Nationals to me is not a tournament that you could show up light on numbers. But I'm going to pay respect to every team that we face, because it is Nationals at the end of the day. You're not going to Nationals to lose. So,
facts. And I think they're going to come out strong. We talk about it. St. Louis did not have a 9-man season this fall. And they did not have Tough League as well. That got shut down after the first week due to an incident. So those guys over there in the Lou, we talk about it, a league over there. They got about 11, 12 teams, almost close to about 300 or so players. Almost 5 teams, I do believe, will be coming from St. Louis this year at Nationals, whether it be the Packs, Show Me, the Spartans, Wildcats, or NTB. I think when you got that many guys coming out, and for some of them, it's their only trip to a circuit tournament. It's tough to come out to St. Louis to the East.
It ain't easy, man.
It's not. It's very difficult, especially when. Yeah.
Like I said,
what's that?
I'm looking forward to the matchup. I mean, I love the fact that you get to go to these tournaments to play new teams. I don't like playing against the same teams. With all due respect, I like to play someone different.
I don't think these are all fresh matchups for you guys. Like,
I mean, the first two is definitely new. I don't think we've ever played either one of these two teams. And then, of course, day 2, we go in there and we play AFN Petty. And, I mean, we're pretty familiar with AFN. I mean, still a newer team, but we know somewhat about what they are. So, no, like I said, I'm really looking forward to the matchups, and I'm, like I said, I mean, interested to see, what happens. I mean, obviously, every game, people are going to bring out their best, but, that's why we're heading where we're headed.
And I think you guys are doing well. They're doing great. Sorry, I can't even talk at this point. You guys have done a great year overall. It's been disappointing at times, falling short to Rampage, falling short to Titans. But at other times, you guys have impressed. You almost came close to knocking off Main Event back at Charm City in the quarterfinals. That was a game of the year.
That was literally one of the best games that I was actually able to watch and be a part of. I mean, that was a good game.
That was one of the best. And we talk about that Charm City experience when Baez went and played A bracket. And they got a taste of the A competition with Misfits, Dream, and Main Event. I think that's going to help them out coming in, is having that battle-tested experience. And, of course, being able to play the Elite Rebels in Clash of York 3, as well as playing Rampage, who coming into this has 3 A wins themselves this year overall. We talk about it with them. They beat Dream. They beat Rideout. They beat Scorpions, all in Capital Classic. Rampage, PME, Baez, the only 3 teams in this bracket coming in to have A wins in the 2021 circuit year.
We wanted to mix it up a little bit to see where our team stood. So that's why we made that jump to A. And we're really happy where we're at. It showed where we stood as a team and how we competed. The only thing that we have left to do is finish. That's pretty much where we're at. So we know where we're at. We know we can compete. We just got to finish.
And we'll see if Baez can finish it out. Nationals coming up. They got Show Me Football and PME Friday. And then Saturday, they're going to be coming out there against Only Us. 3 really excellent games. I'm looking forward to it. Baez Auto, Nationals 2022. Anything else to add tonight, Dallas?
No, that's about it, man. I hope everybody has safe travels out to Nationals. Just remember that it's a privilege to be able to play this game. I think sometimes we allow that to get over top of our heads sometimes where, at the end of the day, we love the sport. It's competitive and everything else like that, but it's still a privilege to be able to go out there and compete. So safe travels to everyone. I hope everybody gets out there safely. And look forward to the battles, man. Really do.
I look forward to it as well. Thank you, Dallas First, for joining us tonight. We'll see you at Nationals.
See you, Big Ross. Eddie, be safe, man. See you
all right,
out
brother.
there.
Down there, boss.
Yep, later.
Thank you. And Eddie, still on here?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right, man. So, welcome to the show, Eddie Thomas. Went back earlier on, looking back at that experience back in '94 with Wildwood. here we are 28 years later almost. You find yourself coming into this Nationals. It's been a wild ride for the Bad Boys. And what was a year ago part of the Renegades core, you guys, I had Renegades the best team coming into the B bracket in 2020. You guys had a really good year out there playing in OMFFL and winning Clash of York 2. Nationals, you guys had a tough schedule last year. A really tough bracket back in days 1 and 2 with the St. Louis Spartans, the Nomads, and who was the third team that you guys had last year? I'm trying to I know it was Spartans, Nomads. What's that?
Florida, maybe?
No excuses. No, Beast Mode. Yeah, Beast Mode. You guys came out early on blowing out Beast Mode at that 8 a.m. game. Renegades were on fire. But 2 tough matchups that will cause any kind of long-term stress coming into a tournament. The St. Louis Spartans, a team that you guys had to face twice that weekend.
Yeah, man. We came in last year on our high horse, man, and we played the first 2 games and we won those, and then we had to play the Spartans, and that was like we ran into a brick wall both games.
What were your impressions on that Spartans team? What stood out to you the most about them that made them different than any team you had faced coming into Nationals last year?
How deep they were, man. It was like every other play somebody new was subbing in. And it was like when somebody new was subbing in, it wasn't like they were losing any talent at that position. So it was like, and we went down there with only 18 guys, maybe. I think we had something like that.
Yeah. Travel's tough, especially with COVID last year, and that might be a factor coming into this Nationals as well. Is going to be just how people are able to get down there, given recent events going on.
We're driving down there.
That's my goal too.
Yeah, it's too much, going on, bringing the whole family and stuff like that. So it's just more convenient to drive.
I think so too. Like I'm trying to make it down there myself by a car, just to enjoy at least the scenery around me and have a nice ride to myself.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's the right time. It's not a bad drive. It's smooth.
Yeah, I've done it a few times. Like growing up, when we softball nationals every year, Dad went down for that. Down in Orlando, we take the 16-hour car ride down there. So I'm looking forward to doing it again. It's been too long, and I've been looking for a good road trip for a while. And I can't think of a better one than Nationals.
Right.
Yeah. Drive to Florida and the weather gets better as you keep going.
I'm hoping it's not as cold as it was the last 2 years.
That's been the thing about it. It does get pretty chilly at night. We talked about it, Ross. You and I left Simmers Young Park and it was 72 degrees. And then by the time we got to NERP, it was 47 and raining.
Right.
And that 47 felt more like a 37.
Yeah.
Like night times are no joke in Florida. But that's like kind of their spring. Like Florida's kind of odd like that, where winter is spring for them. And their spring is kind of an extension of that. And then they get into summer where it just gets insanely hot after that. Which I can't even imagine playing in Murphy's Regional come July or something like that.
Right.
Yeah. Midday, 12 o'clock, and 1 o'clock doubleheader.
Yeah, that'd be hell.
So it's like I'm looking forward. Like I will say, it's good weather at times. It's going to be cold though. I know that it's weird to wear a hoodie and sweatpants in Florida because you immediately think it's going to be.
I saw that though.
Yeah, it was. It's nice though. It's a good change up. Up here it's going to be snowy and all that, and we have a good chance for good weather. Hopefully, we won't get any tropical storms. I was talking with someone who went to Nationals. I believe it was 08 in Tampa Bay, where it was just a severe downpour the entire weekend.
Oh man, that would suck.
Trust me, I went to Gettysburg, 2018. That tournament where it just rained all day. We had about 6 feet by the end of the day.
Oh shit.
Yeah, AFFL too. AFFL back in Long Island. I did day one of that, and that weather was just, I want to say it rained almost maybe 12 feet overall that weekend. Something stupid like that.
It gets cold up there, doesn't it?
Long Island is interesting. When the weather's warm, it feels great. But 60 feels closer to 40 when the wind starts happening.
Because it's coming off that water, right?
Yeah. And like that weekend I went up there, it had been 80s all week and upper 70s. And even to the point where it had been like that for 3 weeks. And in my head, I thought it was going to be that way that weekend, Memorial Day. Even down here, we had bad weather. That weekend, Memorial Day was like 50s the whole weekend across the whole East Coast. And then the rain was just even worse on it. At least on NERB, it's on turf, so we won't be tearing the fields up in the rain.
Yeah. The ball won't get muddy and stuff like that. It'll get wet, but it won't be as bad.
I will say it was really cool last year when I was watching the Gladiators and the Scorpions playing in the rain. It was really awesome to watch a night game in conditions like that, because you don't see that in 9-man. You don't see.
Started raining when the game started, didn't it?
Yeah, when the game started, it just came down, and like the whole evening was just a downpour. And that adds a whole new element to the game, because you think about it, all year, for the most part, you play daytime games when it comes to this sport. Mm-hmm. And if you play early in the morning in the spring and fall, you tend to get cooler weather games.
Yeah.
And for most part of 9-man leagues and tournaments, they don't try to play in the rain if it's too severe, because we're usually on grass. And so when you come to NERP, you get this new element of the possibility of either severe Florida heat happening, which can happen easily too. You can get the extreme of that. We've seen 70-degree days on Christmas up here. Anything's possible. Or you could get something where it's a night game in a downpour, which how often do you even play in those two situations? And not even just a night game, a game that's like 9 o'clock at night, for example.
Yeah, it was late, wasn't it?
That happened in OC, yeah. Baez and Rampage went through that, which that adds a whole new element to it, because your body by that time of the day for most people is in a shutdown kind of mood.
Mm-hmm. Especially
yeah. What was that, Eddie?
I said, especially after a tournament.
Yeah. And so, like, this Nationals for a lot of guys, if the weather ends up being crazy, we get high winds and rain and all that, which if we played through AFFL in that, we definitely play in a 9-man through that. If we get something like that and you get a storm and all of a sudden it becomes a whole different game, because a lot of guys who are built off weather being different, we talk about it. Baltimore and New York, in the East, it's cold, the same kind of seasons year round. The Florida teams, like no excuses down there, or even in the A bracket, category 5, they're going to be a little more accustomed to the Florida weather. But that hasn't really helped them out yet. No Excuses had a rough Nationals last year. The Bahamas, they're going to be coming back in this year, I do believe. Or are they not out in this one?
I think they have 2 teams, I believe.
I see Lions now. Okay. That took me a minute. I couldn't find their name. Bahamas. They come from a tropical area. So they're playing in different conditions than what any of these other teams are. That's the only thing I like about Nationals, is that we all come together in a state where anything can happen weather-wise at any given moment. And playing on a high-level field like Northeast Regional Park, which I will say is the best 9-man facility overall. That is the Super Bowl of 9-man. That is the Madden stage you try to unlock in franchise mode. Mm-hmm. You play all the games in because it looks awesome. And it's a whole different environment, I believe, for a lot of guys, because at Nationals, the atmosphere is just different. You feel it on the sidelines. You see it. You do see the same guys at home you usually see, but you see guys you only see once or twice a year as well.
You can sit up at Nationals and watch football all day long, and you'll never lose that vibe all day long.
And it's a good vibe all day, man. I love it. Like this is why 9-man, in my opinion, has the best nationals tournament overall out of any style. We just have the teams, we have the players, we have the personalities. The last 2 years I went down there were awesome. Worlds was great in 2020. Nationals 2021, even better. I'm looking forward to going down there this year for a third year in a row and getting to enjoy what I feel like is going to be the tournament of the year. And I think we're going to top last year's Nationals on terms because these matchups are insane.
Do you have your schedule yet, or do you know how much media is going to be down there and stuff like that?
So they're on my end. I can't speak for everybody else because I don't want to put anybody out there like that. I've heard things here and there, but I don't want to put anything out there that's been put out by 9-man itself. Or maybe start any speculation. Myself, I'm trying to get down there. I'm trying to make it happen any way I can. My goal was to be down there Thursday morning at least, just so I can get a chance to relax and enjoy a little bit of the area. And maybe even go to NERP and see if anything's new going on there. I got there last year, actually, and they were painting the lines on the field. That's the one thing I like about that park. Fresh lines on the turf field. Like, they go ahead and they go all out for us every year when we go down there. Even 2 years ago, prior to COVID, they had water coolers that they were refilling for free all day for everybody who was at the event and had the concession stand open. That park really embraces us, and I really love what they do down there at Northeast Regional. But media-wise, I do want to get down there myself. If I do get down there, I'm going to be working all the way the whole weekend. I'm going to try to cover every game that I can possible. Okay. See that schedule? I'm going to hit all those games some way or another. You know what I might do? I might just like stand in one place and just we'll do what we did in Ocean City where I was shooting 2 games at once.
There's some good games, man.
There's a lot of good ones, man. Let's start with the ones you got. Wild Savages, 8 a.m. What do you know about the Wild Savages, Eddie?
Honestly, nothing. I watched the Wildcats play Show Me, I believe. And I know LI Demons. I know nothing about Wild Savages.
So I can give you information on them.
Wild Savages from St. Louis? Are they from St. Louis?
No, this one's actually a Rhode Island team. A combination of Wild Card and Savages up there for the Rhode Island Flag Football League. Our guy, Tyler, Preston, Skinny, and Trey, they all went up there and played against them actually on day 2 of Rhode Island. Wild Savages got the win. And from what I was hearing, I heard a lot of positive things about those guys. They came together, the 2 league teams, Wild Card and Savages. They did well enough that they're going to give it a go, those Nationals together. I can't really vouch for film on their end. But from what I was told coming back, that they definitely have a lot of potential and they're pretty decent. Like they are a team that'll give you a fight if you don't adjust. You think about it, that 8 a.m. time slot is going to be very interesting for all those teams, especially Bad Boys coming in. 8 a.m. on a Friday morning. That's a lot for a lot of teams to get up for, especially
8 a.m. game. We were actually already prepared to be in an 8 a.m. bracket, and we wanted, they actually got what they wanted as far as bracket-wise and stuff like that. So they set it up perfectly for us. So we're going to be cool with that 8 a.m. slot.
That's good. That's going to be something that's going to factor in. I do feel like for a lot of teams, it's how they come out early on that Friday. Remember, this is not a tournament that you can just BS Saturday and expect to win Sunday. You have to come out all 3 games in full play.
Yep.
This is double elimination, essentially. And maybe for a few teams, you might get lucky and not be eliminated. It all depends on how well you do. If you go out and win, great. That's all you need. It don't matter if it's by a point or 2. Maybe it does if you want some certain place in playoffs, but no matter what, you're going to face everybody anyways on day 3. You ain't got nobody on day 3. It don't matter what seed you are.
The brackets are. It doesn't matter what it is once you get to Sunday. So
I'm looking forward to that.
Who's lined up in front of you on Friday and Saturday?
and you guys will have Demons right afterwards. I'm looking forward to seeing what Demons have. This is a team that really they've had a pretty good run of circuit this year, but they haven't really been consistent in lineup. So I'm kind of wondering what they got coming into this one.
They beat us 2 years ago on Saturday, so I'm looking forward to this game.
I was about to say, I remember that was a very tight pool there with you guys, them, and Scorpions, and I can't remember the fourth team in that one anymore.
No, it was just us three, I believe.
Oh, it wasn't just you three. Okay.
Yeah, it was a team bracket.
Okay. Yeah, that was a hell of a bracket. That was one of the tougher ones. And then Saturday, what's that?
Because we went 1 and 2. We lost to the Scorpions, we lost to LI, and we beat somebody else. So you're right, there was a fourth team in that.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
You're
I
right.
can't recall exactly who the third team might have been.
Remember?
Yeah, my memory's kind of shot on that one too. I feels like it was 10 years ago now.
Yeah, I don't remember. I know we lost to Scorpions and LI, and that was all I remembered about that.
You guys have quite a break too from Friday to Saturday. That's going to be roughly about 29 hours in between game, or less than that, probably about 27 by the time it's said and done. You'll have Wildcats at 2:15, which by that point you guys would have seen a lot of Wildcats because they will have their first 2 games prior to that with the LI Demons as well as the Wild Savages. In fact, the first game was Savages right afterwards, the Wild Bowl, Savages and the Cats. That's
yeah.
It'll be a wild game. I like it. Loser has to give up the wild in their name.
Yes, right after ours, 10:30.
Yeah. And so that's going to be good for you guys, an opportunity to scout them after being able to play your first 2 opponents. And I think that's going to bode well. This is a very favorable schedule for Bad Boys, in my opinion, coming out the gate. Savages, like we said, they're coming down to Nationals, I believe, for the first time as a unit. So that's going to be a lot of, can they get it right at 8 a.m.? Because there's a difference between, we'll play it this time, but you got to get all the guys together. That's going to be the biggest thing. Everybody's got to be a unit. Make sure they're not out till 3 a.m. drinking and expecting to get up at 7.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of those things. And you talk about it. It's Florida. It's Orlando. We're in Davenport, where you're in between Orlando and Tampa Bay. You're an hour from both. You can go do anything. And that's going to be the biggest key, is how a lot of guys are able to handle what happens. A lot of the new teams like Wild Savages coming into this.
Wildcat and Wild Savages are both new teams, aren't they? Because Wildcat last year either.
Yeah, Wildcats is a new one coming in as well. I think they might have some experienced guys, from what I've been told, though, who've been to Nationals over the years. Okay. I think that's going to be a test mostly for Wild Savages more than anybody, because I look at the slate across. Dirty Birds, they've played for a long time. They're veterans. They know what it is. St. Louis Spartans as well. Empire in the pack. A lot of this bracket, man. This is crazy.
Yeah, B's looking good this year.
B bracket, 5 years ago only had 16 teams in it too. That just shows you how much it's grown.
But there was last year, right?
Last year there was about 24, I want to say, something like that. It was a pretty decent number. It wasn't as high, because 2 years ago we had 28 as well.
28, okay.
Yeah. When we had Worlds, it was up to 28. And you just talk about the growth of the B bracket, and you talk about these different regions where these teams are from and the kind of styles they play. We talk about what Empire has done this year. They've come out and made a huge statement in both XFFL, GCFFA, and the B circuit. Remember, they beat Rideout in that championship back in Atlantic City. Eddie, I know you guys played the Steelers. They were the Browns in Atlantic City, though, at that time. That's a name change for them coming into this tournament. I didn't cover Bad Boys that weekend. Were you at AC?
Yeah, we had a horrible showing up there that weekend. We only won one game, and that was the game against Venom. First round of the playoffs.
The OMFFL league game on the Sunday morning.
Yeah, and then we lost to
Which I
Ryan
love.
after that.
You guys had, but that's the thing about it though. Bad Boys, in my opinion, have played one of the toughest schedules in the country.
Oh, on Saturdays? Yeah, getting into Sundays? Yeah, man.
Not even just that, like league ball too. Like Bad Boys are probably one of the more battle-tested teams coming into this tournament. Like we talk about the A experience that Rampage, PME, and Baez got, but Bad Boys been playing A teams all year. They play the Scorpions in the OMFFL. They play Rampage, who might as well be an A team. They played the Misfits. They beat the Misfits in Clash of York 3. We talk about the game plan that Carlton Roberts executed out there, what Bad Boys did that weekend. Going up and beating the Misfits in the quarterfinals of that tournament. And honestly, you know, we were giving Bad Boys some flack over the course of the summer. But you got to look at what they've done and the teams they've played over time. They played Baez Auto in Ocean City. They played a Tri-State Spartans team who at that time was playing their best ball and what was a very good spring for that squad. We may rag on them now, but like Spartans were playing on a very high level at Ocean City. And that was a team that ended up being a runner-up in one league and a semifinalist in another that spring. You know, day two, Bad Boys had to come out right out the gate against a Bulls team that, you know, we always talk about it. Local teams on Sunday is one of the worst things that can happen for some squads. Because they're always going to give you a fight. They know you.
With the Titans and Capital Classic.
Yep, Titans and Capital Classic. Long Island Ducks, you guys always find a way to cross paths. 3 times, I believe.
Yeah.
In 2021.
Yeah.
You know, you go back, Rampage in that Ocean City semifinal, that battle that you both sides had over there at the school. AC, they had to go up against, they had a GCFFA tour. Ducks again, had to play against the Browns. Riot Squad. Ride Out as well. You know, Outcast, that was a surprise for them in Charm City. Rob Lane came out of nowhere and surprised everybody with that squad.
He had a couple of Chain Gang. I guess it was basically like Chain Gang, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a bit of a mix of Chain Gang, and then from what I was told, Outcast is like one of a team out there in Jersey that does 7-man or something, and they wanted to come out. And that's one of those times in tournaments you got to watch teams. Like you can see a team name and you're like, "Who's that?" And you think, "Okay, that's got to be a nobody," and then somebody pops up.
Mm-hmm.
And that catches teams off guard. We talked about it. I believe leading up to Charm City, there was like, who is Outcast? What are they going to do? And that's the thing about it. You got to watch that in these tournaments.
Yeah.
You never know who's got what, where.
Yeah, they showed up and balled out.
Yeah. Like I said, you guys have had it tough, like on terms of draws, like Elite Rebels, Misfits over there at Clash of York.
OMFFL is stacked with teams, man.
What's that?
I said OMFFL is stacked with teams.
It is. Like that's what the league. Yeah. It was a talented league. You guys played in one of the best leagues in the country. You played a tough B schedule all year. Bad Boys are battle tested. And honestly, the team I saw in the fall is the one that I hope to see at Nationals, because that team has shown strength through adversity. We talked about the tough stretch they had after Ocean City. 11 out of 15 games lost. There was a shuffle in terms of personnel. The attack is different at the moment. I'm not sure what you guys got at Nationals coming.
Oh,
don't worry.
No. We're good. We got a couple surprises for people down there.
And that's the thing. And I think coming in, this veteran squad who has been through this wild ride of a year since last Nationals. We talked about it, like the journey that the Bad Boys have been on throughout 2021. And it's a team that they were looking dead in the water back in the summer, but now coming into Nationals, they're a contender in my eyes. They're a team to look out for in this B tournament. They've learned. They've grown. They've competed with the best of the best in the region. They got to win on a Misfits team that was on fire.
They beat us on that tournament up in York. They beat us Saturday up in York.
Yeah.
We came back Sunday.
I believe it was a turnaround of like 20 points or something, a 20-point swing. And that to me shows a lot too. Being able to take a very tough first game and not get beaten down or intimidated by that second game coming in. And I will say that game with them and Misfits, one of the best, well-coached, well-executed games that you ever watch a team performance-wise.
Right.
And that's going to be something that they're going to need at this tournament because this is going to be a war of attrition with all these teams in here. And right out the gate, Wild Savages, they're going to be a wild card. No pun intended. That's going to be something to look out for. How do they come out? What do the Demons got? And then Wildcats, what do they have? Who are they? Are we going to get an indication? St. Louis is the unknown to 9-man.
Yeah, they're never any slouch.
Facts. We talked about it. The two teams in the championship last year, the NTB Wolfpack and the St. Louis Spartans, displayed behind us. They balled out last year. I look forward to seeing what the Lou does this year, and I look forward to seeing what the Bad Boys do this Nationals.
Hopefully we can come down there and, put on a show and come back with the hardware. We've definitely been, practicing hard and working for it. So now it's just time to put it all on the field and see what we can do with it.
And I look forward to seeing what this Bad Boys team can do. 8 a.m. Friday that morning, Field Z, doubleheader, Wild Savages, Long Island Demons. They're going to have a long break, which I think is going to be to their advantage. It gives them plenty of time to learn about the competition along the way.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're going to have the Wildcats at 2:15. We'll see where the Wildcats are at that point. Remember, they got the Demons at 11:45 before that, and they got Wild Savage the day prior. So depending on where this Wildcats team is, we'll see what happens. I like this.
Yeah,
it's going to be it's all going to play out. I love it. Man, I'm geeking. I know. It's the time of the year for me. It's been a long year.
Nah, well, we're going to bring it out with a bang, man. But thanks for having me on here, brother, man.
Thank you, Eddie.
All right, Ross, man. Thank you, man.
See you, Eddie.
All right, happy holidays, y'all.
Happy holidays, Eddie. Eddie Thomas joining the show. Zoom link still on there for those who want to join. Maybe. I don't know. I didn't actually put it on there. We did have 2 interviews to start though, so it's kind of makes sense. I'll tell you though, Ross, this bracket is insane, and we're not going to do predictions yet. Obviously, that's going to be in 2 weeks. Save that for a whole other show, so that way guys can start fresh with it. But like looking at these games, the matchups that stand out to me the most. Like I look at the 8 a.m. slot right out the gate. Rampage versus Brick Squad. The almost final at Ocean City back in April. In some other timeline, this was the championship of Ocean City. Brick Squad was very close against Baez Auto. They got the onside on the 4th and 20. They had the deep ball at the end. Just short. Just short. Could have played Rampage. And we talked about Brick Squad as well later on throughout the year. They played the Lions very tough in the Rhode Island Flag Football Championship. This is going to be a really good game right out the gate for both squads. Like Brick Squad Rampage, what a way to start that morning. Sheesh. Looking at some other matchups standing out to me. Blackhawks and Dirty Birds is very underrated. You're going to see an old school defensive slugfest there. Not a lot of guys are going to give a lot of love, but That's going to be a nice little slugfest. That's an old school 9-man defense. Titans Empire 9-15 rematch of the AC matchup they had.
Yeah.
Remember, Titans gave Empire their first circuit loss back in Atlantic City. Ryan Tapia said months ago on the show that he learned a lot from that Titans game. Let's see how they come out in the second time around when they face off. Atlantic City champion versus the Capital Classic champion. That's going to be a good one.
Yeah.
Other matchups. Riot Squad and the St. Louis Spartans at 10:30. Riot Squad had the most B points accumulated from Saturday and Sunday play that I counted in my stuff. We talked about it. Riot Squad has been a Saturday team that's performed very well over tournaments. Ocean City, they were just lights out. They took out the X-Dogs and the Blackhawks early on, but they too a Baez auto. Baez surprised them like they could do and got the win on them. You go with Lydia's Legacy. They got the championship on the Reapers. They had a really good run in that tournament. Charm City Classic quarterfinalists fell to the Apex Dragons in that one. Looking forward to seeing them as well. Looking back at Riot Squad, this is a team that all year has competed. Them and the Spartans is going to be an interesting matchup. We'll see how both sides come out. I get the feeling it's going to be another defensive battle between those two. Other games along the way sticking out to me. Of course, the Wild Bowl, Savages and the Cats. Who's more wild, Ross? The Savages or the Cats? We'll find out.
I'm going to go with Savage.
We'll find out when we do predictions in 2 weeks. Let's see who else is going on here. Who we got? Baez and Show Me. That's an underrated matchup. In my opinion. I think Show Me matches up very well with Baez. And that's one of those matchups where Baez, they don't quite have a clear look at what Show Me football is. Ross, you had a chance to cover them last year at Nationals. They had a very tough game with Rideout, played them very close to the bitter end. I think Show Me has learned a lot. Skinny and Preston have been traveling. They went to Baltimore. They went to Rhode Island. They went to Atlantic City. It don't matter if your whole team gets the experience of playing together or not, in my opinion.
Right.
It's all about what you can put together come Nationals. And if you can strike it hot that weekend and make a run, you might get a chance for the championship. And I know it's a different style, but Kent Page told me the story once of how they had a makeshift 5-man team thrown together for a Nationals. They got second place. Ross, we did it with TBT. Put together a makeshift team, crushed it in the summer system. Some say, well, that's a different level of competition. But who's to say you can't just put it together? It's football, am I right? Matchups, man to man. Lock it up. Body up. What else we got on this slate? Steelers and the Ducks. That was a league game back in the spring. I don't know how the Steelers are going to look. They had a tough Rhode Island from what I was told. But they looked good in Atlantic City when they were the Browns. Let's say they have better luck as the Steelers this time around. Dragons and Nomads is a very underrated game. That's a good one. 1 o'clock on Field Y. Dragons and Nomads. I like that one a lot. We talked about the Apex Dragons. They had a really good run at Charm City Classic, Tony Pagno and company. Got to the semifinals. Fell short against Rampage. But they showed that they could definitely compete with some of the best, whether it be at circuit play or even the GCFFA. I had a chance to watch it firsthand when I worked for Workhorse Media back at Atlantic City. Very impressed by a squad that was doing more with less numbers at times. And I'm looking forward to seeing how them and the Nomads face off. Nomads, we talk about it. They know all about playing with less numbers. Charm City Classic, they ran 11 strong. And that 11 ended up playing a tough weekend against the Baltimore Spartans, DX. And they had to play Rampage twice, actually. Twice. they had to play Rampage. Once on Saturday, once on Sunday. They competed in both games, though, the Nomads did. If they can come out there with the numbers they had and the energy they had 5 years ago when they beat the Red Knights to win the B chip, they have an opportunity to repeat 5 years later.
It'd be wild.
We've seen what they did in Rhode Island. 0 points allowed until the end where Empire scored a touchdown. Crazy. Empire scored on both Rideout and Nomads, historic defenses in both those tournaments. Nomads 10-4 in circuit play this year. 3 of those losses, they had 11 guys.
Right.
One of those losses was the Empire in Atlantic City when Empire surprised them. But they got Empire back in Rhode Island. I would really like to see a round 3 with those two, but I look forward to this Nomads Dragons game. This is going to be awesome. This is going to be a battle. PME Baez. Talk about it. A matchup of 2 teams that had wins in A this year over teams playing at A Nationals. Baez beat Dream twice. They competed with Misfits. They competed with Main Event. PME at Capital Classic. They got the win over Rampage twice, doubled up there. Along the way also, though, they beat Misfits and the Elite Rebels, both playing A at Nationals. This is going to be a very awesome game between these two. I'm looking forward to that one. 1 p.m. in Field Z. Going down to the next one, other games happening. Only Us and Show Me. A bit of a rematch from Charm City Classic between these two. We're going to have an opportunity to see them face off. Remember, it was Only Us as the affiliate nation knocking off Show Me Football 20-14 in that B quarterfinals. I'm looking forward to seeing how Show Me Football can make adjustments coming into this game and what they could do this time around against the former nation. Saturday game standing out to me. I like Rideout and the Dragons. That's going to be a really good one at 8 a.m. Looking forward to seeing how the Dragons can match up against that Rideout defense that's been lights out all year. Only Us and PME. Going to be a MAFL game right there, 8 o'clock in the morning. The last 2 meetings have not gone well for Only Us. We'll see if they can bounce back. Going down the list a little further, you have Rideout versus the Nomads at 9:15. The battle of 2 defenses that put up historical performances. Rideout at AC, Nomads at Rhode Island. Both different results. Both scored only mentioned by Empire. We'll see how they're going to match up this time. This is going to be a slugfest. Old school 9-man game between 2 organizations that have been playing against each other on the circuit for 15 years now. This is old 9-man at its best. Nomads versus Rideout. Only Us and Baez Auto, 9:15. We talked about the affiliate nation's history of Baez Auto over the years. Ocean City back in 2019, as long as Virginia Beach that same year. 2020, they faced off in York. First time they had to play at Baez territory. And then this year, they're going to be possibly playing each other, some of the core guys there in that matchup. Only Us against Baez Auto, 9:15. Other games along the ride here, we got very intriguing one. One of the games I'm looking forward to, the Titans Bowl, Maryland Titans versus the Steel Titans, 11:45 that Saturday. That's going to be a really awesome game. Steel Titans, based out of Rhode Island, a bit of a conglomerate of Steel and the Troy City Titans. So I'm looking forward to seeing how both Titans fare against one another in the Titans Bowl. Other games looking forward to in that bracket. Going down the list, I think we got them about covered. The last game I like Blackhawks Riot Squad. That could be intriguing. See if Blackhawks can make an adjustment from that first game. Riot Squad destroyed them the last time. But Tommy Lightfoot and company, I think they're going to come out with a lot different strategy this time around. They're veterans. These guys will learn. And, of course, Rampage and No Excuses. Battle of League runner-ups. The OMFFL, or rather MAFL runner-up back in the spring. Rampage and No Excuses. The South Florida Flag Football Association runner-up. Looking forward to that matchup. in what is going to be a really awesome Nationals in the B bracket. We're looking forward to it. Next week, we will return with another episode of Blunt Talk. We got just about a few left in the season. We'll be talking the A media night. We'll talk to the players of the A bracket and see what's going down with them. And then the week after that, we are going to be going ahead with doing the predictions for Nationals. Looking forward to that and much, much more. We'll have the documentary as well. B bracket next week, A bracket the week after. It's going to be lit. It's going to be legit. This is the season finale. We don't got many episodes to go. I believe we are down to about 6 remaining for the year, maybe a special or 2 in between. We'll see how it goes. We're going to wrap it up next month. And what has been a wild 2021? And a wild 3 years. Sheesh. We'll see you next week. Good night, everybody.